Good morning, Raghushree, and welcome to Cuts. Delighted to have you here. You're playing a very important role in terms of pushing female entrepreneurship. We do a lot of work on gender and trade, by the way, on policy levels globally, not only here. So right. I'm sure we can share some knowledge with you as to how we can take it forward. What you wanted to ask me was what is the role that we are playing in this?
So in Rising Rajasthan, we have made a small cluster of women entrepreneurs at a professional and as a CEOs of companies, directors of companies, and some startup sector, that we are going for an MSME conclave, and where we would understand policies, understand how government would support us to scale and scale up our business, because after a certain level we forget how to scale up. That is what I feel is hindrance of women in business, because her
hindrance
projection
of anyone. No, if you look at our MSCB, because of lack of scaling up, we suffer.
Yes.
From competitiveness.
Yes, 100%. And then I also feel all the time that the digital world entering and the women era which is working is 20 years old back, if you go back. So to match up this digital scaling up, there has to be major awareness in Rajasthan to learn, and to a word which we say, we are just near the finishing line and we stand back. But that invisible finishing line is the success only developed if we are able to digitally be very focused.
Very good. Now, you wanted to know about our role in this. So we have an understanding with the government of Rajasthan to promote trade and investment, particularly from foreign countries, where we have an FTA or a Comprehensive Economic Cooperation Agreement.
Right.
For example, Switzerland, Singapore, Australia, and so on. But since this summit came up in between, they have asked us to help us with the summit as well. We have been successful in getting many countries to come and participate because of our connections, etc.
So I must congratulate you on this.
Thank you. What we do hope to do is what we have discussed with the officials is, let's take stock of what we've been able to do and what is it that we should do after the summit is over.
Very true.
See, there's a lot of knowledge and connection that we have built up in the run-up to the summit, and that should be cashed. For example, we think Australia has a very big let me give an example. We hardly get any Australian tourists.
Yes.
And the tourism department is very keen to promote that.
Agree. And even the trade and delegation with Australia is very important.
Yeah.
Because our textile has not reached the way it should reach to Australia.
Raghushree, you have a great scope to sell to Australia because of the Comprehensive Economic Cooperation Agreement that we are negotiating with them. Volumes will go up. As it is, we have a trade agreement. It's called Economic Cooperation and Trade Agreement, FTA. That has already helped to promote trade by jump by about 50%.
Okay, great.
SECA, in my opinion, will help us to.
I do agree, because Australia being an island which is far away, but I feel their approach is a very friendly approach towards, if we are able to feed in their whole intimacy, because Australians, I believe, are very approachable, but they have to be reached up. And that reaching can be done by the government trade and delegation programs, inter-exchange programs.
No, Raghushree, not only that, there is an increasing Indian diaspora.
So, Kuta, I would really like to ask you, as your role, important role, as a Cuts, in organizing the Rising Rajasthan Summit, and how would you impact us, the whole Rajasthan, and maybe the worldwide, as a policy?
See, we are promoting Rising Rajasthan in a summit in a big way.
Right.
Through our own networks, which are quite. For example, I told you about Australia.
Right.
We have got involvement with US also very closely.
Wow, nice.
So we have US ISPF, United States Institute for Strategic Partnership, who are our partners also. So many of them, we have partners also. We've signed agreements with them.
Okay, that's interesting to know.
Right. So we have a kind of access and hold on many of these issues. So we expect the question which arises is the absorption in Rajasthan.
Agreed.
Now, for example, we did, there's a water problem. other than land problem. Land problem can be resolved, but water problem requires much more effort, much more investment.
Agreed.
We did a survey of Nimrana, Japanese industrial zone, and everybody is complaining about availability of water.
Agreed. But of course, the government has to see if they want to develop the industrial projects, we need to have the constant supply of water and electricity.
Yeah.
And good roads.
Electricity is another problem.
Yes.
Roads, fortunately, are still far better than on a comparative basis.
Of course.
So now, if you look at states like Tamil Nadu or Andhra Pradesh or Gujarat, they are so proactive.
I agree. But what makes it? It's the government, or it's the policies, or it's the attitude?
The attitude. We've done deeper studies also on this, and to see the attitudes are very good. And that helps.
That helps. The professional life in Rajasthan is very laid back. What do you feel? That does it bring us into a less competitive?
No. For example, when you spoke about professional life, something which we missed the bus is on global capability centers.
Right. Yes.
Which are sort of mushrooming all over the country.
Yes, I agree.
But we have not got even one application because they don't think that we have a catchment area for good, brains.
I guess so. So I think human resource is something which should work on this, because I feel Rajasthan needs this to be more rising in coming time.
See, Rajasthan has a lot of advantages compared to other states. Let me tell you that also. Okay. Our law and order is still far better.
Of course, I agree. Yes.
Stability of government, particularly since the central government and state government belong to the same party, so we expect a better kind of coordination. But it would also depend upon how, as I said, going back to the point about absorption.
Right.
That is a big challenge. For example, now we had the Resurgent Rajasthan Summit about 22.
Right.
Now, out of the MOUs which were signed, there were hardly 10% conversion.
And I feel, is it a fear of investment, or it is?
No, there were several problems.
Okay.
I think many of these MOUs are purely intents rather than
the real conversion.
This is what I gathered from many businessmen that I spoke to here.
So what is the hindrance of investment that is lacking from the major industries in Rajasthan, like, in all sectors, I feel?
See, one sector which is very promising and where Rajasthan can progress very well is the defense equipment sector.
Okay.
There was a seminar organized by FICCI. It showed a huge promise.
Okay.
Now, see, don't forget, Raghushree, we are a landlocked state.
Yes.
So we should avoid looking at products which require sea transport.
So do you think in future we would be able to?
I would, as I said.
That's nice.
What we have an understanding with the government is that post-summit we'll sit down and do some brainstorming. I
think this is very important because, any networking becomes its net worth after its conversion.
Exactly.
So
no, Raghushree also advised government that don't claim that you're signing so many lakh crores MOUs.
Yes.
Because, if people ask you what happened.
Exactly. I agree.
That's a sorry figure. This is fine. We are signing a lot of MOUs and we ensure that most of them are converted.
Yeah.
We have in fact put in a proposal to analyze the 22 failures.
Okay. Of course. So this is very important.
I said, look, you require a diagnostic study to find out exactly what happened.
Yes, very true.
Number two, Raghushree, what happened with that investment and where did it go if it went? Did it go to Gujarat or did the investment flop, and why did it go? What is it that extra thing that the other state was able to offer?
So, do you think that Rajasthan being a attitude issue, was the attitude or not chasing? Are we not the chaser into these?
We are not. Telangana now, I would like to have Telangana.
Telangana is growing because of their attitude being very professional and very upcoming to matching the horizon of what is required. So what do you think the barrier and hidden entries would you be coming up into the future? Are we going to soil them up with good plans?
It can be. It depends upon political will. Political will is there. That is quite clear.
So political will is there. So then I feel the investing.
The bureaucratic reforms. We require bureaucratic reforms in order to ensure that accountability improves. There's no accountability at the moment.
So
The
it has
person
to
doesn't
be
do anything.
Rechecked. Because if you recheck your plans and policies, I think investment is not further.
Yeah, no, not at all. And there is a market. India is a growing market. We are part of that whole Viksit Bharat, which is the larger vision of the government of India, Modi.
Yes, of course.
To grow into a $10 trillion economy by 2034. And by 2047 we should become. We ourselves have targeted that we are targeting more than what even the government of Rajasthan is talking about. Government of Rajasthan is talking about doubling the GDP from $190 billion to $380 billion.
So
we are saying let's take it to $500 billion.
Right.
If you look at the growth rate, by the way, the growth rate is very good in Rajasthan.
But now the industrial land pricing is going up.
Yeah.
Right, and all the commercial pricing up. So there is an investment coming into small pockets.
Right.
So this is really underlying. So I think the bigger one's investment is not far off. If I feel what reforms should be done with the chasing time, like with the it has to be done. Go and get it rules.
One thing, Raghushree, that we have, our project advisory committee is headed by Sunil Arora, former Chief Election Commissioner and a very well-known bureaucrat, very efficient bureaucrat in Rajasthan. So we, in our first meeting, what we spoke about, somebody, a reputed chartered accountant of Jaipur, Suren Singh Bhandari. Suren Bhandari, you know him?
Yes, I've heard his name.
Yeah. Suren made a suggestion, very valid suggestion, that let's take a stock of the sick and closed units.
I agree.
What is the investment which is lying stuck?
Yes.
And how can we divide that?
This is a very important sector which has to be looked upon. There were many cement industries closed, I think in couple of years back, maybe 5 to 7 years back in Rajasthan due to some forest department issues. So can they be not shifted?
I know. Yeah, there is a case-to-case analysis to be done on each.
So I think
that should be a project.
This
is what we are going to suggest to government.
Right.
We had in the past spoken about unutilized land lying with sick units. How can the government take it back?
Right.
There are the legal problems. Anyway, nothing happened after that.
So what should be the government in Rising Rajasthan discussing about the total rise of Rajasthan?
See, they have spoken about a lot of policies. Recently there was a news, they have a tourism unit policy, etc. The one policy that we have suggested to them, which nobody else has in the country, is an employment policy.
Yes.
Which will look comprehensively at industry, services and agriculture. And not just, manufacturing.
Of course, because see, being a tourist state with lots of services
is very important.
And I sometimes feel that there has to be a plan of an action which should be created, that this month this kind of tourism should be promoted, like every month wise, so that there the whole it should not be that if it's summer 3 months we are lack of employment, lack of the hotels are serving non-salament of their rooms. So what we have to do is in this case is that we should plan when there is the season which is not appropriate for tourism, what should be done to these hotels.
Off season,
yes,
one of the best way forward is MICE.
Right. We have
meetings,
to do. Yes, conferences.
Rajasthan destination weddings.
Yes.
Off season can be done, and there are a lot of people coming.
Exactly. So we should also promote. There's a lot of scope. I think it is very important. They say sell shoes there where people are bare feet. So this is the whole concept which Rising Rajasthan should be very promising, not just superficial for a summit. It should have a conversion. I think Rising Rajasthan after 1 year should have its own report card that this is what we have done.
Well, what we said that what you're going to learn from here should be used for the next summit.
Yes.
So this is what we're going to ensure, that whatever is the outcome of Rajasthan Rising Summit doesn't remain in some
files and figures and folders of computers
and websites.
No, so that is how
And there we look forward to your active partnership?
Of course, as a FICCI FLO chairperson right now, I'm being a very huge entrepreneur body and having the power of 850 women together. We are every day approaching. The day FICCI began, there was a very less professional entrepreneur women. But today, believe me, shoulder to shoulder, every woman is giving her output to economic growth in her form, maybe a exhibition, a small boutique. So, but all this can be scaled up.
Anyway, thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.
Very nice
And
talking to you.
very nice. It was a very interesting talk, and thanks a lot for inviting.
And I'm sure people are going to hear us, see us,
I'm sure.
notice, and
thank
hope
you.
some changes take place.
I feel every small step is one day a big
Yeah, exactly.
reaching Mount Everest.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.